All right, today we are going to continue looking at comparing fractions. This was a skill that I don't think that we were completely ready to move on from when I checked your assessments last week. So FYI, this is a very good strategy to use when comparing fractions. This, not so much, so I am not even going to worry about this bit at all because I don't even know why they brought that up. All right. So, if I am comparing 1/3 and 4/6. Now, last week we talked about cross multiplication to compare these fractions. And we said 3 times 4 is 12. And then 1 times 6 is 6. And which one is bigger? 12. Therefore, 4/6 is the greater fraction. Now, I think some of y'all forgot about cross multiplication or something last week when we were doing our assessments. But I do want to show you another way to do this. And it is using a like or a common denominator. When you have something in common with people, that means you have things that are the same. So if, like my favorite animal is cats. And so if there's somebody else out there who loves cats like I do, that's something we have in common. So fractions, to really get along together well and for you to have a really easy time working with them and everything, they need to have a common denominator. They need something in common. Let me remind you, the denominator is the number on the bottom. The numerator is the number on top. So the strategy we're going to look at today is we're going to rewrite these fractions using a common denominator. So, if I have 1/3 and 4/6, 1/3, 4/6. I'm going to look first at my denominators, and I notice, are they the same or are they different? Are they the same or different? They're different because 3 and 6 are different numbers. They're not the same. So I need to figure out a number that 3 can go into and 6 can go into. What is a number that 3 can go into and 6 can go into? So I'm looking for a multiple of 3 and 6. So, not a factor. That's what's going to trip us up. All right, so let's think. 3 and 6. I'm writing the multiples. 3 times 1 is 3. Times 2, 6. Times 3, 9. Times 4, 12. Times 5, 15. 6 times 1, 6. Oh, do they have something in common already? So we can stop listing multiples as soon as we find something they have in common. What do they have in common?
They're both 6.
That we can use 6 for both denominators. So I'm going to, you can't hardly see that. That is super duper light. Let me get a better color. All right. So we're going to rewrite 1/3 as something over 6. And I'm going to rewrite 4/6 as something over 6. Because remember, for fractions to play nicely together, they have to have common denominators. Now, what did I do to 3 to get 6? 3 times what?
3 times 2.
Good job. 3 times 2 is 6. So if I do it to the denominator, what do I have to do to the numerator? The same thing, exactly. Whatever I do to the denominator, I have to also do it to the numerator. What is 1 times 2? 2. Okay? So what did I do to 6 to get 6? Multiply by 1. I didn't change anything at all. So if I do it to the denominator, that's what I do to the numerator. What is 4 times 1?
Oh, so this stays the same.
Yes. So now, do I have common denominators? Yes. So now I can just compare the numerators. Which numerator is bigger, 2 or 4?
4.
4. So 4/6 is larger than 1/3. Okay? Right? Cross multiplication is a beautiful thing. I will warn, and I don't mind you using that at all when you're doing comparing fractions. When we start with adding and subtracting fractions, we will have to find those common denominators, though. And we will have to make sure that we understand how to find a common denominator. So I'm going to show you, again, another example. Trying to find some colors that will show up well. Okay, here we go. So let's look at 1/2 and 3/4. So what would be a good denominator to use for 2 and 4? Because you see they're not the same. Let's list out those multiples. 2 times 1 is 2, times 2 is 4, times 3 is 6, times 4 is 8. 4 times 1 is 4. Can I stop yet?
Yes.
Yes, because I have something in common.
Yeah, 2 4s.
So, I'll get that a little closer. Move the mouse out of the way. Focus it. Okay, so that means that I can use 4 as my denominator. So I'm going to have to change the fractions to where they have a 4 as the denominator. What did I do to 2 to get to 4? 2 times, good, 2 times 2 is 4. So if I did it to the denominator, I have to also do it to the numerator. What is 1 times 2? Here, what do I do to 4 to get 4? Do I change anything? No, so that means my numerator doesn't need to change either. So now I can compare. Which one's bigger, 2/4 or 3/4? So my alligator mouth eats the bigger number. I can check this by cross multiplying. 1 times 4 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, and that one is the bigger fraction. All right, so the next one, I've got 6 and 3. 3 times 1 is 3, times 2, times 3, times 4, times 5. 6 times 1, and I can stop because they have something in common. So what am I going to use as my denominator? 6. Does 5/6 need to change since it already has a 6 as the denominator? No, so I'm going to keep it. 2/3 does have to change though. What did I do to 3 to get 6? 3 times
2.
good is 6. So 2 times 2 is
4.
4. Which one's bigger? 5 or 4?
5.
Let me double check. 5/6, 2/3. 5 times 3 is 15. 6 times 2 is 12. And yes, that is bigger. All right, one more. 10 and 8. 10 times 1 times 2 times 3 times 4. Oh, I'm running out of room. Times 5. 8 times 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5. Do I have anything in common?
Yes.
What?
2 40s.
All right, so what does that tell me? 40 will be my denominator. Good job. 40 will be my denominator. Okay, what did I do to 10 to get 40?
You multiply it by 4.
Good job. So that means I need to do the same thing to the 5. 4 times 5 is 20. What do I do to 8 to get 40?
You times it
5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I did that here, I also have to do it here. 1 times 5 is 5. So which one's bigger?
20.
So the alligator mouth, again, is going to eat the bigger number. Let me double check that I was right. Cross multiply. 5 times 8 is 40. 1 times 10 is 10. Yes, that one is bigger.